Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into a neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
We got a bunch of topics to discuss today,
including some that came out just today. Let us begin with our main client, Sabine Ren.
I guess Qui-Gon drew the short saber.
Badum.
The 2-episode premiere for Ahsoka is getting savaged on social media for having Sabine Ren get impaled on a lightsaber during a duel with Shin Hati, only to survive the attack with almost no repercussions.
Which makes no sense!
Now, as you can see, where she's being stabbed, it clearly looks like it's probably nicking the lung.
It's going through the lung.
Apparently, you see her later, and it is through the stomach?
For some reason. But that's clearly the diaphragm or the lung. Definitely in the respiratory system, in the rib cage, getting stabbed through with a weapon of condensed magnetized plasma that can easily melt bulkheads. That is something that burns flesh apart if this is not something she should have survived.
There are definitely times where Jedi have survived being stabbed, but this does not look like one of them. If she actually was shown to be stabbed in the stomach, then maybe that would have been a different story. But they changed it, so you can argue that the main problem here is not that she survived, but the problem is that they didn't have the person stab her in the correct place.
I guess.
I can't really know which is worse.
They're both bad. She should not be alive, and she should not be just walking it off the next day.
I called it a Sabine kebab.
Yeah.
Or Sabine shish kebab.
Uh-huh. Everyone hated you for that.
No, just a couple people.
True.
Most people found it funny, because, I find it much better to make fun of this stuff now and joke around with it rather than get upset. Because I honestly think that Ahsoka should have died in her battle with Vader.
I agree. That was the perfect ending for the character.
And having to use time travel and whatever to bring her back was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, I get she's a fan favorite character and many people like her, and this is like a live action Rebels and everybody's excited, and that's great. That's great. If you're excited and you enjoy it, go ahead. What I don't like is it's become this thing where you're not allowed to not like things and not allowed to criticize. There were so many people trying to tell me how it didn't hit anything vital and Darth Maul survived being cut in half. I hated that.
It's true. It grew on you after a while, but you really did hate him surviving getting cut in half.
I don't think it was necessary. I liked seeing Maul back because we got to see more of him, but I didn't like him surviving that, and you can't just equate the two. They're two different things. And most people who get stabbed, even when they survive, have to take a couple days to recuperate. She was fine a day later. Explain that to me.
You cannot. Because it shouldn't have happened. It's lazy writing, bad writing, and also let's not forget the writing of the show is abysmal, more than other shows, because they take full minutes of silence and stares in between sentences.
And to clarify, my wife and I have not watched Ahsoka. We did see some scenes from it, and most of the criticism around it has been about the fact that it is very slow, and watching this one scene where they said one word and then stared at each other for 2 minutes, and then said another word, and then stared at each other for 2 minutes. It was really weird. Regardless of if that is a trend for this show or not, we don't really know. But based on what other people have said, it seems to be one of the main criticisms, and if that's the case, it's really weird.
You think?
This show wasn't necessary. However, if people like it, that's great. But people are saying, it's the best Star Wars show yet. And it's like, no, it's not.
It's the best thing ever since the last best thing ever.
Exactly. You said that about the last one. It wasn't a thing that's crazy here. You don't get to just make that same claim. How about this? You can say it's an okay show. It's a good Star Wars show. That's it. All you get to say. But no, you have to hype it up. And what I love These people are so paranoid about their access. There was an account, I'm not going to name names, but there was an account who posted that they got sent stuff from Disney and Lucasfilm for giving Ahsoka good reviews and talking about it, whatever, and it included Ahsoka Tano cookies.
That's what that was?
Yes, it was cookies and like a head. It's like, yes, this is totally not an incentive for a good review at all, because I'm sure if you gave it a bad review or you said your real thoughts, I'm sure they'd just be like, this is fine.
I mean, the dark side does have cookies. It's how we entice people to come over to our side. That cake and real chocolate.
Regardless, I think the dark side would be more smart about this kind of stuff. I would have made it very clear not to post this kind of stuff, but again, it just goes to show you that if your opinion is anything but the approved, you're a problem. And I remember when fandoms used to be about criticism.
And arguments and debates. That was the fun of it.
And there were some people who actually wanted that, but most people were just trying to tell you, did you even Star Wars? It's like, come on, just please get a life.
They can't. They don't understand the concept of life.
Whatever. Anyways, this is a weird thing. I guess we'll see what else comes out of this Ahsoka stuff. Again, we're not planning to watch it, but we will report on the news around it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just kind of fun.
Yeah. Shish kebab. Moving on. And next up, we have Spider-Man.
In The Amazing Spider-Man number 32, Spider-Man intervenes to protect the newly reformed Norman Osborn and winds up intercepting a spear of Osborn's disembodied sin, which turns him into the new Green Goblin.
And I am just facepalming along with Spider-Man in that image.
You already did the Doc Ock living in him. Now we're getting, the Green Goblin's in him. Who's next? Is the Rhino going to get injected into him somehow? Or we're going to have a Rhino Man running around?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. They just keep finding new ways to try to destroy Peter.
I get that maybe you've run out of ideas, but this was not a good idea.
Not at all.
If you run out of ideas, you know what you can do? You can have the character retire for a bit.
Or outsource to someone else who actually knows what the heck they're doing. Like me.
Yeah, they would never outsource to you, and plus, let's be honest, you wouldn't want to write this.
I'd do it, but I would write something way better.
True, but that's just because the fact that their stuff is so bad.
I'm still a better writer than they could ever hope to be.
I get that.
I know.
I'm just saying that I think anybody could write better than these people, okay? Now, you have to recognize these people are in the industry and are getting gigs and stuff like that, so to some degree they have made it, but this is a stupid decision. It's not something that needed to happen, and it's like another train of like, the Spider-Man has become like a train wreck lately. It's just like, this is one of your most popular characters, and all you keep doing is dunking on him.
Mm-hmm. And also, how do you create a spear of disembodied sin?
I don't know, and quite frankly, I think that's the something they just made up. It's a MacGuffin that they made up so they could have it happen. Maybe not. Just throwing it out there. Maybe the person who's like, I know, let's inject him with a spear of Norman Osborn's disembodied sin. Instead of saying, great idea, let's write it down, you should have said, what the heck does that mean?
That's what I want to know.
Good luck with this.
How do you get stabbed by an incorporeal spear?
Well, apparently he's going to be in the black suit again, and he's going to be hunting Kraven, who's running for his life now.
Why?
Because he's now Green Goblin and Spider-Man.
Why?
Because they have no ideas in creative bankruptcy.
Why?
I think I already answered that.
Why?
Somehow people are saying this is selling well. Again, keep in mind, volume of product shipped is not volume of product sold. But maybe that's something you guys don't want to consider, because if you did, I guarantee it would be a lot less of a bestseller than you think it is.
Absolutely. Moving on. And next up, we have artificial intelligence.
All according to plan.
That's a really good Ultra voice.
A disgruntled comic book resources employee recently used their access to the outlet's official Twitter account to deliver a scathing condemnation of its current leadership and direction.
saying that everyone's being fired and replaced with AI.
Now, is this true?
Don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know. Would it be surprising?
Not really. CBR is full of cracks these days.
That, and also CBR is supposed to be a comic book resources, and half the time they don't report on that, and their titles are pretty much all clickbait, and that's all they do. So it wouldn't surprise me if they decided, you know what, let's just have AI do it for us.
It could definitely do it better than them.
I don't know. I think that the time of these, like, comic book specific news outlets, I think is coming to an end, because a lot of them have strayed away from what got them popular, and then they need to, like, scramble to keep relevant. AI, people have a lot of opinions on, and that's totally fair. But it would not surprise me if they're cutting costs, because I guarantee right now they're not doing very well.
Absolutely not, considering how bad their quality has gotten, not to mention that they're hardly focused on anything they should be writing and just focus on attacking the people who are supposed to be supporting their product. Is it any wonder that these companies are finally starting to crash?
No, it's not.
And it's glorious.
Yeah, again, I don't think AI is the best approach here.
I don't either. As I have said before, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep on saying it, AI will never replace true talent. However, it is still doing much better than most writers in the industry these days.
That's true, but that's a low bar. And at the same time, we may never know if this is true or not. It obviously was deleted eventually. But it was interesting to see, and it doesn't surprise me, given that there's been lots of layoffs and stuff like that. They need to cut costs, and it would not surprise me if they cut costs, because honestly, I think they paid so little to people to even write articles. But again, I haven't worked for them. This is just based on information that I've heard. But it wouldn't be surprising if this were true.
Agreed. Moving on. And next up we have Mario.
Nintendo has announced that longtime Super Mario voice actor Charles Martinet is retiring from the role of the iconic princess-saving plumber after almost 30 years since he first voiced the character.
Mamma mia.
Here we go!
Those are so much fun to say.
As you can see, he says here, "My new adventures begins. You're all number one in my heart. Wahoo."
Apparently he's becoming now an ambassador for the character of Mario, so that he can still be a part of it. But it is sad to see him go. Apparently there are people who are thinking that new stuff of Mario isn't being voiced by him at all. Maybe because they haven't heard any new things from him in a while. There's also maybe some speculation, I think, that they're looking into someone to replace him because of his age.
There can be multiple reasons. I think that, honestly, this might have just been his choice, because his last voiced line will now be the father from the Mario movie, and his last line is, "These are my boys." And I honestly think that at cresting the wave, so to speak, it would be a great time for him to kind of wind down. People were getting upset because they were deciding that it obviously was Chris Pratt's fault. There's a compilation on it. Didn't get much attention, which is fine, but there's a compilation that I made on it. But no, they're probably not going to hire Chris Pratt just because he voiced it in the movie. That's ridiculous. But this guy's a legend. He will always be a legend.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter who voices it going forward. People will be upset because it's not going to be him.
Yeah.
And that's sad. However, we don't know. Maybe they'll use AI or whatever they're going to do. Who knows? Because they don't really need the characters to say much.
That is also true. But what you said about him doing that last line in the Mario movie, I smile every time I think about that. It's just so perfect.
Yeah, it is. If you were going to go out and stop doing a character, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
So, again, wish him well. Hope it was for good reasons and good intentions. And, it'll be sad to see him go. But at the same time, life moves on.
Indeed it does. And thus we move on to Blue Beetle.
When in doubt, blame the weather. In a new attempt at spinning Blue Beetle's failure at the box office, Warner Bros. Pictures blamed Hurricane Hillary for the poor box office turnout.
Which is so dumb.
Here's an idea. Maybe the movie just sucks. Or maybe people just don't want to go see it because it doesn't interest them.
I mean, Blue Beetle is not that well-known or popular a character. He's a cool character, but most people have no idea who he even is. You want to bring people to the theater, you go with something a bit more iconic, like maybe Henry Cavill's Superman!
They're not doing that.
I know!
But regardless, I have heard a couple people who have gone. We're not planning to see this, but I've heard a couple people who have gone who said the movie was pretty okay. There were a couple parts that were just kind of not necessary. But I've heard it's a decent family movie, and I'm sure it is. But again, when did it become a thing where we cannot admit that movies don't do well anymore? If it's a movie that we're pushing very hard and it does badly, it obviously has to be anybody else's fault or everybody else's fault but ours, because it can't just be that people didn't want to go see it.
I know. It's so dumb.
Hate to break it to you, people didn't want to go see it. And that's okay. It's okay. Instead of freaking out, why don't you learn from it?
They can't. They can never admit to their mistakes.
That's the problem. Let's blame the weather. Okay, next you're gonna blame global warming. Waiting for it.
They totally will. Just watch.
You can't blame everything and everything else. You sometimes have to recognize and take responsibility for your part in it, and it's okay to have a bad movie. Even if people like a movie, there are movies that you would be classified as bad these days that I like. That's okay. But if a movie doesn't make a profit, you can't blame everything and everybody else. It's okay to say, you know what? It didn't do as well as we wanted it to. I'm glad those who enjoyed it. But we can't do that anymore.
Unfortunately. It's quite a shame. Because if they would learn from all of these failures, perhaps they would start making good content again.
I doubt it.
I know.
They take the wrong messages away from movies that do well. And again, I'm hoping one day these guys will wake up, but this is not a great start to the new DCU, and it might not be because James Gunn said it was, but it isn't. It's a whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it was not Hurricane Hillary that made the movie do badly. It's simply the fact that nobody went to see it, and there's multiple reasons for that.
Indeed. Moving on to Harley Quinn.
Arlene Sorkin, who portrayed Calliope Jones on the NBC soap opera Days of Our Lives and served as the original voice of the DC Comics character Harley Quinn, has died at the age of 67.
Goodbye, Harley! And apparently she was also the wife of Christopher Lloyd.
I didn't know that.
I only found out today.
Now, for those who don't know, if you've ever seen Batman the Animated Series, you will know that Harley Quinn was created solely for this series. It was based off of Arlene Sorkin.
Yeah.
100%. The character exists now because of her, and her unique style patterned the personality of the character.
The look, the personality, the speech pattern, all of it.
Yeah, and it's a shame that she's gone. Obviously, I'm sure thoughts go out to the family and Christopher Lloyd and everybody. And it was a big blow to come back online and find that out.
Yeah.
Don't really know what else to say. It will never be the same. Harley Quinn will live on, and the legacy of what she started will live on.
Mm-hmm.
But the character was her.
Yeah.
It will always be her. So I guess in a way, while it's sad that she's gone, we can at least rest somewhat easy that part of her will always live on in the character of Harley Quinn.
Amen. Rest in peace, Harley. Moving on to our last client of the day, Robin Hood.
Global TV shared a first look at their upcoming Robin Hood TV series, which stars a, quote, fearless young woman, end quote, and her hip-hop band known as the Hood.
Sigh.
My face is Disney Robin Hood's face right now.
Yeah, pretty much. This is going to be so bad. And I think something that I discovered when we first researched this topic that a lot of people don't know, Robin Hood, with Robin spelled as a Y, is actually a comic book featuring a female take on Robin Hood, but she's white and blonde.
I don't think they based it off of that. I think they just went with whatever they were going to do, and this is going to be like a thing of where she's going to be fighting against the government or whatever.
It's not the government, it's a realtor.
Whatever. Regardless, it's dumb. It's dumb. I'm sorry. This is a show that nobody asked for and nobody needs. This looks like CW garbage, and I feel dirty saying that because I feel like, as weird as it may sound, I feel like that is...
An insult to CW garbage?
Exactly! We've gotten some okay shows from there and some decent entertainment for the bad shows. This just looks like pure garbage.
And I'm telling you, it's not going to be based off of that comic book I discovered at all. In fact, the writers of that comic could technically sue for copyright infringement if they ever come forward about it.
I doubt they will. I don't think that they have as much... Chances are they probably don't have it copywritten, and who knows. But I just think this is ridiculous. We don't need this. We do not need this. You guys need to stop pushing this kind of stuff. Make an original show about a character who does the same things, and don't call it Robin Hood. Oh, wait, you can't do that because Robin Hood is an iconic name, and you need the iconic name to bring eyes to your show because you know that without it, nobody would watch it.
Yeah, it's like nobody's really going to watch this anyways. She lives on the corner of Sherwood and Forest. The realtor taking over the place is named John Prince and is working with the sheriff of New Nottingham, who's a woman.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I bet you anything they will make Robin and Marion a lesbian couple.
Don't give them ideas.
They're going to do it! You know they will!
Don't give them ideas.
But they're totally going to do it! I'm calling it now!
Fine. Regardless, this is pure unadulterated slop. There will be people who will consume it, and yay, you use the Robin Hood name. Congratulations, 3 more people out of the 2 who are going to watch might actually watch this now.
Heh.
Most people who are going to watch this are just going to watch it to dunk on it. And, okay, you made a thing that people are going to hate. Maybe it'll be good. I highly doubt it, but I guess it's possible.
Meh.
But we don't need this. Nobody needs this. Nobody wants this kind of stuff. Make new content and stop rehashing things with the race swap, gender swap, whatever. It's getting old.
Very. Anything more to say on that?
No.
Yeah, let's move on. And with that being our last client of the day, it is time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is impulse control disorder.
Please explain.
So impulse control disorder is like it sounds. It's people who lack the ability to maintain self-control. They act out in different ways. They get violent. They even have outbursts. They run away. They do all these kinds of things. Now, how does this apply to Hollywood right now? Because we are seeing these people who are the epitome of the lack of impulse control. These people do things on impulse. Rachel Ziegler's a good example. The SpiderMan stuff. All this stuff that we're getting is purely impulsive. How I can know this is because there are ways to do all this content in a way that would actually have depth to it. These people don't do that. They just spit out regurgitated trash and say, here you go, enjoy. They do it on impulse. Let's race swap Robin Hood. Let's make Ahsoka a TV show. Let's do this. It's all about what they think will make money without any of the actual underlying research or motivation. So we get this kind of stuff. They keep acting on impulse, and guess what? Your impulses are wrong. You keep creating very shallow content that will, yes, generate some money, but it doesn't bring long-term fans to the product. And that's why I feel this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I'm inclined to agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week we will be sending you to our friend OG Star Wars, a fan and advocate of original Star Wars content, George Lucas era, and all of those books from that era. She's very knowledgeable about it. You have a question about Star Wars? You go to OG Star Wars, as it says in her name.
And she also was recently mentioned in Bounding into Comics because she was actually dunking on the whole thing with Sabine being stabbed, and so were a lot of people, but she got a specific mention. And she had some very good things to say about it. She had done her research, and it showed. And of course, she got a lot of people mad at her, but most of them couldn't actually dispute her point. So If you want to see some great Star Wars content or want to talk to someone who truly is passionate and cares about the source material, you would be hard-pressed to find someone better.
Indeed. So grab your lightsabers, head on over there, and let her know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad kitties. And do consider joining us at the Dusk, Midnight, or Dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out. And if you don't want to stick with us here on YouTube, you can also find us on Rumble and Odyssey.
But yeah, that's all we have for this week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.